here we go, finishing Cicero 143. Virum, but haec omnis oratio. Haec's the pronoun female, oratio is the noun female, omnis means also all this oration, all this speech he's giving, as already, before Dixie I've said, this is mine, these are my words, this is my opinion. Qua me uti res publica. This is as he sees the republic, in his own words, and is dolor meus. This is my pain or grievances, and this inuria, this injustice, coagits, it forces, storm of these, probably of these people, of these men, or of these circumstances, forces him to speak. Sextus Roscius, he putats, he thinks, nihil indignum, nothing indignant horum of these things, contrasting what Cicero himself was thinking. He accuses neminem, he's not accusing anyone, and nihil querita, he's complaining nothing concerning his patrimony or his inheritance. Putat, he thinks this homo imperatus, this inexperienced man, morum, of the mores or the customs of the court or of the city of Rome, he's an agricola and a rusticus, so he's a farmer and a country person. What we got? Ista omnia quae, so all these things which is done, ista omnia, which was, looks like you have gesta esse solum. He thinks you've done this according to the will of Sulla, basically. Gesta means done. More dicitus, again, it's mores in the ablative here. Leg, by the law, by the facta jure, by the rights of the nations, gentium. So, kind of, mores the custom, leges the law, and jure. It's common in all races, basically, in tribes to have some sort of laws and rights. He's thinking he wants to be liberatus, he wants to be free from blame, and solutus, and free from crimine nefaria, from this nefarious accusation he wants to be. Cupid he wants, taking the infinitive, to discedere, to leave you. So he wants to leave you free from any blame and set free from any of these incriminations. 144. Si hac indigne suspicion caret. So if this indignity basically, caret means he's free from. This is a conditional thing, it takes the subjunctive. So if he can be allowed to be free from any suspicion here, with an animo equo, with a calm mind basically, se carare, so he says he'll be willing to be lacking all suis omnibus commodus, so all the advantages or property that he had, he's looks like he's going to bear this with a calm mind if he loses all his goods. He's rogating, so he's asking, and he's orating, he's begging, a you, Chrysogenus, the vocative, if nothing, de patris fornis implicit, so if nothing he converts or has for himself concerning the ample fortune of his father, if he has nothing of this ensue him for himself, if nothing in re, nulla in re, if he's defrauded you of nothing in this matter, fraud of it te, and if tibi, for you, optima fide, with the best fide anyway, so in the very good spirit or something you might say, he's concessed everything, all these things, sua omnia. If he's enumerated them, he's counted them out. If he's appended, he's weighed them all out. And if vestitum quo ipsi tectus erat, so if the vestitum, the clothes which he tectuses himself, which he protects himself with, he covers himself with the clothes that he's wearing, and his annulum and the ring, because Roman citizens have rings, if he trad, it's taking the dative to you, if he hands that to you from his very finger, and another C conditional, and if from omnibus rebus, and from all these things, if he ipsum himself is nudum, so he's handed over his clothes and his ring, and nequi praeterea, and nothing besides anything which he receives or take away from here, so that sibi for you, through you, Lysiad, he may be allowed to be, what have we got, innocentia optibus vitam. So if he can degere means if he can live out his vitam, if he can live out his life in a yesterday, in poverty, with the resources it looks like, with the hopes of his friends, Macorum. So he's willing to live in poverty with just his friends helping him. 145. Praedia mea, my farms, pradium's neuter, you possess, posides, ego I, vivo, I am living through the misericordia aliena, this is an adjective aliena, through others' pity I'm living, concedo, I concede this, and quod animus equus, so again he's bearing this with a calm mind or a fair mind, and quia, because necessity has. So he understands it's necessary to understand that he's lost all these farms, estates, and he's living off others. Mea domus, domus being a fourth declension female, patet tibi, lies open to you, dative, but dative to me, it is clausa est. My house is closed off now, pharaoh, I bear this, or I understand it, or I suffer this, or whatever. Familia mea, this is my family. I guess that's medieval when it become family. In these days, it just meant your household, including your slaves. Maxima, to uterus. So utor takes the ablative, so this familia mea would be ablative. So greatly, maxima, in all concerns, you're using my household. I, ego, habeo, I have nullum servum, I have no slave. Patio, I enjoy this, and puto, I think this should be ferendum, this should be born or suffered by me. Quid vis amplius, what do you want more? Quid insequirus, why are you prosecuting me or following me? Why are you pestering me? Quid oppugnus, why are you even attacking me? Qua in re, so putes, where do you think from me, to be lading, to be harming to voluntatem, your will? So in what matters or circumstance do you think that I'm hurting what you want, something like that? Ubi tuus commodus officio. So when have I officio, it's probably the ob and off, usually means blocking. When have I stood in the way of your conveniences or your advantages or your property or whatever? This is a good lesson in datives. Quid tibi obsto, when have I blocked you or opposed you? Si causa, if for the sake of spoils, vis you wish, taking the infinitive, to accidere a hominem, to kill a man. Spoilisti, you've already taken off the spoils. What are you querusing? What are you seeking? Amplius further, if it is inimicarium, if it is of some sort of hostility or enemyship. Is enemyship a word? Yeah, friendship, probably not enemyship. What is this inimicaia? What's this hostileness or hatred that you have, Tibi? When cum ea, with this man, of whose praedia, of whose estates positisti, that's a good word, which you possess, of who before you took these estates before you cognisti, before you knew him. So we have anti and quam are split up. So you've taken this man's property before you even have heard of him or knew him, something like that. I'll scroll a bit here. Okay, here's your daily dictionary word, possidio. You see that pretty commonly, but it is in the perfect. And second person is probably the least used version of verbs. First person and third person are very common. Just possess, own, have, pretty common word. Okay, C matters. If it is fear, and we have a question NE stuck on that, from him, met with something. So if you fear something from him, whom vides, whom you see, ipsum himself from so atrociam inuriam, such an atrocious wrongdoing, he is non posse to propulsere. So this man himself is not able to propulsere or cast aside himself, or he can't cast off this wrongdoing from himself and from his name. What's there to fear, basically? That's what the aliquid means, something that... Or if the bona, the goods, which fuerunt, were of Cestus Roscius, tua factusunt, these are now yours, the goods which belong to this family. Id circo, for this reason, hunc ilius filium stude. So stude means you're desirous, or you want this, takes the infinitive. So you desire to perdere, it means to destroy or kill, the son, Ilias, of this man. Nonne, surely, ostendis, you are showing that you fear this, verire. Quod praeter ceteros, besides the rest, you non debies, you ought not to fear. Ne quando, sometimes there's no gap in that. If ever, or lest at some time, since we have a verb of fearing as well with metwe, you fear that the paternal goods, the state of his father, might be read unto it, might be returned to the liberis, to the children, proscriptorum of this proscripted man. And I think we've already shown that it wasn't prescribed by Sulla to be killed earlier, in fact. 146. Facies injuriam Chrysogene. You're doing an injustice, Chrysogenus. Again, that's the vocative of a second declension. If maiorum spem, if a greater hope, emptionis, of what you have bought, to emptionis, ponus, you're placing the exito of in huius. So, exito probably means the death here. So, if you're placing more hope of what you bought, more on the death of him, quam, than in any rebuses, which Sulla has guessed it. So, that's pretty simple in itself. It's a short one. So, you're doing an injustice if you've got a greater hope of placing this on the death of him whom than anyone who was on Sulla's list, blah, blah, blah. Quodsi, but if to you nulla causa is, there's no cause, why hanc miserum tanta calamity adfecta? Why do you want to affect or place such a calamity, tanta calamity, on this person, if to you omnia, everything of his, sua, besides his animum, besides his breath, he has chartered it to you, Tibi. So he's given everything he owns besides his breath to you. Next sibi, quicquam. So neither any paternal thing of his father's, ne quidem, not even causa, for the sake, causa goes post-positive to a genitive, not even for the sake of having something to remember him by. Monumento has he reserved, so he hasn't kept anything of his father's, even for the sake of remembering him. Per dios immortals, by the immortal gods, he hasn't kept anything. So what cause is there that you want to afflict him with such a disaster, because he's after his life? I'm almost done for the day. There's a couple of days after this and this book's finished. Quae is the tanta crudilla. So what is this such cruelty, which so fair, which is so wild and immanus and so monstrous a nature? Whoever was a prado, probably a pirate, who was there was a pirate so nefarious? This word also means pirate, so we can take this pirate here as a bandit or something. Who was a bandit so nefarious? Who was a pirate so barbarous? So that when an integram prayed him, when he could get a booty whole, sine sanguine, without blood, posset habre, he was able to have, that malet he preferred, taking the infinitive, to detract the spoils with cruenta, that's gore and bloodshed. And we'll finish tomorrow.